Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is video number 3 and I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. If you have not already, subscribe and make sure you like this video at the end if you loved what you heard, and that way I know my content is good. So today I want to talk to you guys about moving away from home. Super scary, right? So for those of you that are sitting there right now and you're like, I don't like where I live, I want to move away, I want to get the heck out of here and go do amazing things and meet new people and just start over fresh. If that sounds like you, then keep listening because that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So for those of you who don't know my story, I'm going to kind of just backtrack a little bit, explain to you what I've been through, my steps in the process of moving, and some tips and advice at the end, and hopefully that'll help you maybe a little bit decide if moving away is meant for you. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am from a tiny town in Pennsylvania called Mercer. So any of my hometown friends that are listening right now, I love you all so much. Mercer has such a near and dear place to my heart, and it truly shaped me into who I am today. And I know that sounds super cliche, maybe a little cheesy, but it's true. I had a wonderful childhood. Honestly, I did. Amazing friends, wonderful teachers. My high school was great. I had about 90 to 100 kids in my class, give or take, with people moving and stuff. But between 90 to 100 kids in my class. I came from a very small school. My high school was 7th through 12th grade. So you know how some people like separate middle school and high school? Well, mine was just like one big jumble because there just wasn't a lot of people. So about 90 kids per grade, everybody knew everyone. My parents went to school with my friends' parents and so on and so forth. We all knew everything about each other, where everybody lived, when everybody's birthday was. I don't know. It was such a comfortable feeling though, to be quite honest. And if you grew up in a small town, maybe you can understand what I'm talking about, but it was just so comforting having that love from the town and a community feeling. Friday night lights were really big where I grew up, and sports, I don't know, mudding on four-wheelers. I grew up in the country on 55 acres. It was a Christmas tree farm back in the day when my dad was growing up. My grandmother lived right behind me, so if my mom was mad at me and grounded me, I would literally run out the back door to my grandma's house and eat all of her food, and I don't know. I had a very lucky and blessed childhood. But in the early 90s, a lot of the factories where I live, they shut down. They shut down, and a lot of my friends' parents lost their jobs. They had to move away. They had to switch their careers around, and it just seemed that like all these places kept closing, and the town was just slowly dying as every year went on, and I could not understand why. My dad actually lost his job at the Bessemer, Cooper Bessemer is what it was called, and he did welding there, and he was recruited by a company in Ohio for complete travel. He designed tools and traveled, so that allowed us to stay in Mercer because of his traveling job. So my mom was able to raise us at our house, and we were able to stay because I know a big topic when I was growing up was, what are we going to do? There's nowhere to work. So luckily I was able to stay, and yeah, I feel like I'm mumbling, but coming from a very small town, you kind of get that small town mindset as well. So you almost get scared to leave. You get scared to leave the bubble. I don't always like to call it a bubble. I think that's kind of like rude, but it is true. We all live in our tiny little bubble in Mercer County. It's comfortable, and it's almost kind of scary trying to move outside of that because you don't know what the world is like outside, and you don't know if you really want to know. But for me, I ended up getting trapped in that bubble a little longer than what I thought I would. My senior year of high school, I was super ambitious. I remember I told my mom, I said, I'm gonna go away to college, a couple hours away, and I wanna meet people, I wanna join a sorority, I wanna do all the things, and I wanna be like the CEO of this big company and do all this amazing stuff. And I'm leaving, I'm not coming back, that type of mentality. You know, 17, 18 years old, I had big plans and dreams, and I had to get the heck out. But my senior year of high school, when I was dreaming all of this, it suddenly came to a major halt because my mom was diagnosed with lung and brain cancer. So all of my dreams and plans to move away at the time just completely came to a total stop, and I had no vision, honestly, no vision at all. I became fully immersed in her illness because I wanted to spend as much time as I could with her. I missed a lot of school that year. I think I missed 35 days of school total, and I didn't know who I wanted to be anymore. So all those dreams and goals that I had from being a little girl all the way up to my senior year suddenly just did not seem important anymore. Moving away just was not even an option. I could not be far away from her. I couldn't be far away from my dad and my brothers, and it just didn't feel right. So I ended up staying in Mercer longer than what I expected, and my senior year until my sophomore year of college, I lived at home. I commuted to school. I went to Slippery Rock University, and it was close enough to my house. It was like a 25-minute drive one way, and that was good enough for me. The school was great. I loved it there, so it ended up working out despite the situation I was in. So yeah, I ended up losing my mom my sophomore year of college, and her cancer just completely overcome her, and it was hard. It was hard on me, and honestly, that was an original video I was going to do today because it's Mother's Day, but I'm just not ready to quite talk about that yet, and that's okay. I will when I'm ready, but I lost her my sophomore year, and everything just became so awful. I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know who I wanted to become. Moving away was still not an option because I needed to take care of my younger brother. He was still in high school, and he was at that age where it was a make or break situation. He was 14, and I just feel like young guys that are between 13, 14, and 15, those age years are extremely crucial to who they become in the future. And I just had to stay home to make sure he was on the right track with going to school, you know, keeping his nose straight on his grades, and getting overly involved in school activities. I did not want him to go into shutdown mode. He needed a mother figure in his life because my dad had to travel and take care of us to put food on the table. So I made the sacrifice to stay home even longer to take care of my brother. So I stayed home. It was 2010 until 2014 is when I moved. So an extra 4 years. And that period of time, I was so lost. I was extremely lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do, who I wanted to become. It was just an endless thing that I was stuck in every day. I'd wake up, same monotonous routine. I dabbled in different jobs. I was a manager at the outlet mall. I tried to work for the government. I was a nanny. I did all sorts of stuff. Tried to work at my dad's shop, and nothing felt right. I just was so unhappy in everything that I did. But my only promise to myself is that I was going to stay until my brother graduated high school and was enrolled in college. And then I kind of felt like my job with that was done and I could move forward. So everything was at a standstill for me for a very long time. But my brother ended up graduating high school and was accepted into college, and everything kind of felt different. I remember looking at my boyfriend Mike, and I said, you know, we could move. What do you think? I kind of want to do something different. Do you want to move? And, you know, he was like all about the idea, and I was all about the idea, but the biggest issue is where, when, how, all sorts of different factors. You know, you obviously need money to move away. We needed to know the area we wanted to move to. How were we going to afford it? What jobs were we going to have? Who did we want to become? It was a lot to think about, and it was scary. So what ended up happening was it was just a topic that we talked about. We were not proactive about it for quite some time. We were together for 3 years. So my senior year of college, all the way up to 2014. So 2012 to 2014, we just talked about it. It was not going to happen. It was too scary. We didn't think we could afford it. And I wasn't ready yet. I was scared. So I ended up getting a job with the government because I felt like that was the smart thing to do, you know, get a job with the government because it has benefits and it's 9 to 5 and it's super smart and I can build a career. I hated it. I hated it so much. It did not fit my personality at all. They actually ended up laying me off, which was a godsend. I was so happy that they did, and the whole company ended up shutting down. But I remember at that point, I was just done. I was done just trying to be mediocre in my life and just get by, like just do the right thing, just be comfortable. I was tired of trying to just be comfortable and be like everybody else. I was watching friends around me get engaged and married and having children, buying homes, doing all sorts of stuff, and I was not ready for that yet. If you have done that early on in life, go. I am so happy for you. But me personally, I wasn't there, and I was so lost, and I said, I need a change of pace. I just need a breath of fresh air. I need to get the heck out of here and start over again. And if you're sitting there right now and you're feeling like, oh my God, she is speaking to me, I feel you. I understand it. I get it 100%, but you have to be proactive about getting the heck out now. You have to do it now, because if you do not do it now, you're not going to do it later, because something's going to come up in your life that's going to prevent you from going, or it's just going to be a slow roll of events, life events that happen, and you're not going to go unless if you get maybe a job offer, which is great. But for me at the time, I didn't have a whole lot. So I got laid off from my job. Mike ended up getting laid off from his job, and we both just basically said we've had enough. I remember I came home and I was crying, still living at home in my childhood bedroom, and I was 20, how old was I? 23, 24 years old. Felt like an absolute failure and mess, have a college degree, nothing to show for it. And I just said, why can't we go? Why can't we move away and just try? Why can't we just try to make it better? And I had this crazy idea to move to Florida. I don't know why. I just picked a spot on the map and I said, let's go somewhere that's completely different from where we both grew up. We grew up in farm towns. I grew up on 55 acres of land, and it was just so different. Florida was different. You know, we had the beach, we had sunshine, no cold weather, no snow, theme parks. It just was 100% backwards from what we grew up with. And I thought, that's what we need to do. If we're gonna move, we should go somewhere completely opposite of where we grew up and try and make it work. So our best friend, Kurt, lived in Orlando, and I said, why don't we move somewhere where we have at least one good friend? One good friend that we can trust, that we're close with, that we can be around, and we can go out and start having fun and living our life. So we chose Orlando, Florida. Now looking back, I think that's a little crazy to just decide to on a whim and go, but I'm so thankful that I did, because I wouldn't be sitting here today doing this right now. It completely propelled me into my future self and my career and who I am as a person today. For the longest time, I was stuck in this small town mindset and this woe is me mindset. You know, I lost my mom to cancer. I didn't get the college experience. I wasn't a part of a sorority or any of that fun stuff. And I still lived at home, and I didn't have a savings. I had nothing to show for it. I didn't have a career. All of these things that I could have, you know, put myself down about and said negative things about and completely just self-talked myself out of doing anything further and just sat in my negativity. Or I could just change. It's that easy. And I know you're probably sitting here right now thinking she's making it sound easy, but it's not. It is, you guys. It's up to you. It's up to you to get out there and go. I have had so many, I feel like my allergies are bad. I've had so many messages from people where they're like, how did you just decide to go? What's your advice? And I'm going to let you in on my secret. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a plan. I honestly, truly feel that situations like that don't always need a plan. You just need to go. You need to do it for yourself. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, you can go home. I think a lot of people don't realize that, and that was something that my dad said to me that made me feel way better. Yeah, I was scared to leave and fail, and he said, you know what, if it ends up not being for you, just come home. You'll always have home to come back to. So that was something I always had in the back of my mind, where I was like, I can always go home back to my dad's if I end up failing. So Mike and I loaded up our 2 tiny cars and our cat and our 2 chinchillas at the time, and all that we had to our name. I didn't have a lot. And my brother followed behind us and moved us down to Florida. This was October of 2014, and I didn't tell anybody we were moving until I signed a lease. So I'm one of those people where I can easily be swayed based off of people's opinions. I care a lot about what people think, especially my family, and I knew my dad would talk me out of going because he obviously didn't want me to go. He didn't want me to move. I don't know many parents that are like, get the heck out of here. You know, they want their kids to stay around. So I knew the only way that I would end up going to Florida was if I signed a lease on an apartment and then told them, like, put my money towards it. This is it. I'm locked in with paperwork. I gotta go. And that's what I did. I got online and I ended up finding an apartment where our friend Kurt lived, and I signed a lease for 8 months for a 1-bedroom apartment because I felt like that's all that we needed. Didn't even look at it. I just was like, we're gonna do this and try it. And we loaded up the car and we went. And I was scared, you guys. I was so frightened of what was going to happen. Were we going to have enough money? Were we going to like our place? Would I be able to find a job? Just all sorts of stuff was floating around in my head, but at the same time, I was so thrilled to just be changing my life finally for the better after everything that I had been through and endured. Finally, something that I was so ready for was a fresh start. We all deserve that. We all deserve a fresh start and a change, and we owe that to ourselves, especially if we've gone through something devastating. So when I moved down here, my dad completely thought that I had a job lined up at the Hard Rock Hotel, doing God knows what. I don't even remember what I said. Being a lifeguard or something at the pool. But in reality, right whenever we moved away to Florida, I had actually signed up to be a Beachbody coach. And that was in July, and we moved in October. So I'd only been a coach for 3 months, and I was obsessed with it. Like, loved coaching, still love coaching because I'm still a coach today, but I just was so in love with it, and I had this crazy idea in my head. I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to move, and I'm going to be a full-time coach. 3 months in, like, let's do this. So crazy of me. So crazy of me. So, yeah, when we picked up and we left and we moved and we came down here, the entire time Mike thought that I was on my phone applying to jobs. I was actually on my phone working my Beachbody business, but it ended up working out because I made a full-time income from working for myself. But I was not able to do that when I was still living at home in Pennsylvania. I was so distracted and I was way too comfortable in my surroundings. I quite literally had to just get myself out there, get on my own, learn how to take care of myself, and it put that idea and mentality in my head that I can do anything that I'm capable of, and it pushed me and propelled me forward to run my business full time, and I did, and I ran with it. So I didn't tell anybody, though, for a long time that that was what I was doing. A lot of people thought I was getting a job whenever I moved down here, but we were really only career focused on Mike, and I was doing Beachbody, and I was just so happy with it. Some advice that I'm going to give you guys though, because this is something that I feel is really important, and I know I just like planted into your head, oh, you need to just go, you need to go, you need to go. Doesn't matter what anybody else says, just get in your car and go. There is some things you need to research, and these are mistakes that I made, and I don't want you to make the same mistake, especially if you're getting really fired up right now and you want to like get the heck out like tonight. You just want to load your car and go. I am going to tell you guys, not everybody was in the same situation as me where they have a backup job like I did where they can work from home. I do suggest getting on Indeed or LinkedIn, getting your resume out there. Rebuild your resume and make it awesome, and get yourself on LinkedIn so recruiters can find you. Get on Indeed, get on Monster, look on Craigslist for jobs. You might not get the job that you want right away when you move to wherever you want to go, but it'll at least get you to where you need to be going, if that makes any sense. So at least you could be making money, putting something on your resume that could help you move forward to where you do need to go. It's okay. Nobody's going to pass judgment on you for getting a job that you really didn't want whenever you moved. Like just get something to get you by, pretty much. So first piece of advice, just make sure you got something lined up for yourself for money, because you don't want to get down. I always say down. I just assume everyone's coming to Florida. You don't want to get to where you're going without income or money. If you have a savings, which Mike had more of a savings than I did, but we lived off of that for a while and that helped us get by. But if you don't have a savings, just make sure you have something lined up for yourself. If you do have a savings, just make sure that you're actively searching so that you're not draining your income out and not doing anything. So my second piece of advice, make sure that you research the area that you're moving to. The community that we live in, I call it a diamond in a rough because it's absolutely gorgeous. Like, I'll have to take a video of where I live. It's beautiful here, but the problem is like right down the road, it's really scary. And the way Florida works, it's in patches, which is something that I wasn't used to. I say Florida works in patches. You go down one street and it's like mansions and really nice places, and you go down another street and it's scary. Like you're fearing your life and you don't get out of your car because you might get kidnapped type feeling. That's how Florida works, especially in Orlando and living in the city. Every street you turn down is different and the environment is different and it's scary, and that wasn't something that I was prepared for. Growing up back home, it was you just avoided that one town. You just didn't go to that town because it was scary. Or that certain area because it was scary, but here it literally is so different all over the place. I didn't live here before, so we would travel around places and I'm like, where the heck are we? I'm so scared. So just make sure you research the area, the streets, the stuff that's going on around it so that you're well prepared, so you're not putting yourself into a scary situation. We are safe. We're safe where we live. Our condo is gorgeous. We love our neighbors. But if I had to change it, I would definitely pick a better area altogether, because living in the city, you just don't really know what you're going to get. My third piece of advice is try to come down here with not a lot of stuff. I brought so much unnecessary stuff with me when we moved, and I don't even have half of it anymore. I ended up selling it. So just sell it before you get to where you need to go, so you have extra money to invest into bills, or getting yourself by groceries, or buying new furniture for your new fresh place. So just try and be a minimalist, and if you have a tough time with being a minimalist, I definitely suggest getting this book before you move. It is the life-changing magic of tidying up. So definitely suggest this book. It'll help you a lot with getting rid of things and junk before you make the big move to go somewhere else. So I just suggest trying to go with like the least amount of items as possible so that you can get new fresh items for your new fresh start. What else? Oh, don't always believe everything that you see on social media. So whenever people move away and they're like, I'm so happy and everything's so great and this is perfect, they go through their struggles too, you guys. Everyone goes through hard times, financial problems, fighting, whatever it might be. Mike and I had our fair share of crap that we went through. We had to share bills. We were sharing a space together for the first time. Everything that I did, I based around him. Everything he did was based around me. I was sharing that with him. So if you're going to plan to move with a significant other, just make sure that you're ready for that. It's not all peaches and roses all the time. So when you see people post about being so happy all the time on social media, I'm just going to let you in. It's not always perfect. So don't get down on yourself when you move here or there. You might not be coming to Florida. Don't be so sad whenever you get to where you're going and you end up running into some hard times. But those hard times are going to build you into who you need to be. So yeah, I guess that's like about it for like my tips and advice. But you know, my number one thing that I just want to tell you is don't be scared to change. Don't be scared to change. Don't get so comfortable in the life that you're living right now that you can't let yourself be in the future. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be a-okay. You're gonna get a job. You're gonna move to where you want to be, and you're gonna be happy. You're gonna make new friends. You're gonna meet new people. Your career is just gonna take off. I just want to put as much positivity in your life as I can. Everyone has their own hard. Everybody has gone through very tough situations. You know, my situation in general, I lost my mom to cancer. I didn't get the college experience. Went through a really bad breakup before I met Mike. Ended up living at home way longer than what I wanted to. I didn't have a good resume with jobs. I could have let those things break me. Or I could have just made it my purpose and my why and my reason to move forward. And that's what you need to do for yourself too. Do not let the hard times that you have been through pull you away from who you need to become. Get out there and go. You can always come home. You can always come home if it's not who you thought you wanted to be, if it's not where you wanted to live and you thought it was, or go somewhere else. Just go somewhere else. It's okay. I talk to a lot of people too that have kids and they're really scared that like they're going to totally screw up their kids' life if they end up moving. Honestly, guys, don't think about it like that because they're your kids and they're going to love you no matter what. They'll make new friends. You know, they'll be exactly who they need to be. If it's right for them and it's right for you, then go. Don't stay behind for things like that. It'll be okay. So I guess that's about it. But if you guys need any help or advice, or if there was something that I didn't cover, please comment below. I know this video is long. I know not everybody's into long videos, but I felt like I needed to say a lot of stuff. So just bear with me. And yeah, I'm so happy that we moved to Florida. I don't know where we're gonna go next. We've been here for 3 years now, and I'm definitely ready to expand past the city. I live about 10 minutes from Disney, and yeah, I live in like tourist city, so I'm kind of ready for something new, something fresh, and it's something that is definitely on mine and Mike's radar. And as far as where we're gonna go, I have no idea, but I'm not even scared about leaving because I've already done it once and I know I can do it again. And I just hope that that's something that you can get involved into, and I definitely hope that that's a feeling that you can have as well. You can put yourself through anything, and you can do anything that you put your mind to if you just do it. So I love you guys. Make sure you subscribe, like this, comment below with any questions that you have, reservations that you have about moving, whatever it might be, or just let me know that you listened. People from Mercer, Slippery Rock, anybody from back home in Pittsburgh or Mercer County, I love you, and I go home all the time, so please don't think that I hate where I grew up, because I don't. I think the first year I moved away, I came home 9 times to visit. So definitely am always a country girl at heart. I love Mercer so much, so, and I love all of you. And yeah, that's it. I love you. Thank you for listening, and come back again soon. Bye.